Hello, everyone, and welcome to the House of Reels podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Shawn.
My name is Alex.
And my name is Adrian. Here at the House of Reels, we're going to be over here talking about movies, pop culture, entertainment, all that nice good stuff that's going on around the entertainment field of the world.
Hello, everyone.
What's
up, guys? How's it going?
Everything's good. How about yourself?
Everything's great.
Everything going good. So, fellas, now we're nearing the end of March and the beginning of April.
Yep.
April is known for Easter, but it's also known for April Fool's Day.
Yep. And you already know, in the spirit of April Fool's Day, we're going to talk about the biggest psych outs in movie history, baby. So we got a top 5 list for the viewers today, guys. And what's it about, Adrian? Can you give us more insight?
Today, we are going to talk about the House of Reels top 5 plot twists in movies. All right? This is the House of Reels definitive top 5 list. So our opinions are facts. All right? We don't care about what you guys.
That's right.
So we're going to let Shawn start it off. So, before we do talk about it, though, of course, just making sure there is spoilers throughout the whole video. All right? Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Any of your movies get mentioned here, go away. But Shawn, start it off.
All right, guys. So I'm going to start number 5 off, okay? So number 5 is going to be Us, a movie that's been pretty popular over the past couple of years. I'm gonna give you a brief synopsis of Us. So a family comes back home, or to a beach, right? I think they come to South LA. And the wife is kind of nervous about coming back to the location, and you're kind of like, why is she so nervous about the location the entire time as the movie builds up? But eventually, and of course, spoiler warnings, her doppelganger comes back, right? A whole family of doppelgangers comes back.
So she's cloned?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Everybody has a clone in this world. You just don't see them because they're usually underground.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, her doppelganger and her whole family, their whole doppelgangers come and attack them, right? And the movie progresses and certain things happen, but the plot twist is that the reason why she didn't want to come back was because when she was a little girl, her doppelganger, right? She actually saw her when she was younger. But the plot twist is she's actually the doppelganger. She's not the real version. So when she was smaller, the real one was attacked by the doppelganger. Her larynx was crushed. And and she basically took over her entire life. So the fake one was in the real world the entire time. That was the plot twist of Us.
That sounds like
if you want to.
To me, it sounds like an overglorification of identity theft.
That's exactly what it was.
It's insane, man.
If you wanna see that movie in more depth, actually go watch it. It's out on DVD and Blu-ray. So I hope you guys.
Who played the main character? Like, what's the actress? Or
Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita, yeah,
He's fire. He's awesome.
Nice.
Quick allusion to like the slap. When Will Smith sat back down, she was right there, and she was just like,
her face was priceless.
It's priceless, man. It was an amazing moment of TV. Guys, you can go ahead and go to number 4.
All right, guys.
Who's number 4?
Number 4. one of the best movies, at least in my opinion, of recent times, Parasite. Okay, just a brief synopsis, over the movie. Basically, the Kim family, and they're really poor, extremely poor, so poor, that when it rains really hard one day, they basically lose everything. They lose their basement apartment that they have. So then they're basically moving around, and they eventually find work with a wealthy family. It's the Park family. So Yeah, and basically, so this movie's just full of twists and turns. So I'm just gonna give the biggest one. If you want to go experience all the twists and turns in the movie, you got to go watch it yourself. Okay, shameless plug. But yeah, so they go and they work for the Park family, but slowly they start to integrate everyone into the house, like working for the house. So then they all end up working there, and they take the job of this one lady who was the caretaker or the housekeeper for the house. And she's really important because one day, obviously now they're all employed in the house. Uh, so the Park family leaves on like a camping trip. So then they're just like going crazy. They're going fucking nuts. They're drinking, they're eating, they're basically treating the house like if it was their own. But then the housekeeper like finds out that they're not who they say they are, because she was onto them. She was kind of like onto them throughout the whole movie. So she finds out they're not who they say they are. But so then she basically like leverages them. She's like, hey, like, you guys need to let me stay here, or else I'm gonna like rat you out to the Park family. So like, okay, whatever. But then the Kim family notices that she's like oddly like worried, and she's like going to the basement and stuff like that. So then they're like, dude, what the fuck is this lady doing? So they like follow her, and they see that it turns out her husband lives in the basement. Yeah, her husband lives in the basement. God, the reason why it escapes me right now. You'd have to help me out here, Sean.
They didn't have anywhere else to go either.
Yeah. So they stay in the basement, but then they find that out, and then they're like, what the fuck? Like, your husband lives here in the basement. Like, what is he even doing here? And then, so to make a long plot twist short, the housekeeper and the husband, they end up getting murked, okay, by the Kim family. So then, oh my god, I'm like blanking out here. Yeah, so then that was one part of the plot twist, and then the Park family comes home before they expected, so now they have to scramble to like get the house together and everything like that. So then, yeah, and I believe once they get everything together, oh my god, I'm just like blanking out right now because it's such like a long.
It's a very long story, and a lot of stuff happens.
It's really long. I'm not sure if you remember, Sean, what happens like after that, like what it is that
certain characters die.
Yeah.
Other characters.
I know the son ends up dying. Basically, everyone except the father ends up dying. So then the father, what he does is he kills the dad of like the rich family. Like they're having a party, and then he's so like outraged and so sad. And I believe he's been living in the basement at this time too, but no one knows that he's been there. So then he goes in the middle of a party and he stabs the dad, like in front of the kids, in front of everyone. And then he stabs them, and then obviously everyone's in a fucking panic, everyone's in a frenzy. So then, and he goes back to like the basement, and then he becomes the one living in the basement. So now he's like staying in the basement.
But the son actually lived.
Yeah, the son actually did live, and then he actually ended up buying the house. He ended up buying the house that they were staying in, and it's just like so many moving parts, like because some people like to make the point that the father actually made the sacrifice in a way for his son, that he ended up staying in the same place that he began, in a basement apartment, while his son was able to go on and achieve greater things. But yeah, in a movie full of twists and turns, Parasite is definitely a really good one. So the plot twist in short being that there was a dude living in the basement that was related to the housekeeper, and she was trying to take care of him. The mother and the daughter get murked. They die. And then the dad loses his shit, stabs the matriarch, the patriarch of the Park family, and then the son comes back and buys the house, and we thought he was dead. And it's just crazy. And it was a great movie. It was a great movie.
Oh yeah. Bong Joon-ho is a great director. If you haven't seen his movies,
he's amazing. Yeah. And next, Adrian with Infinity Wars. Sorry.
Yeah, the next one I wanted to bring up is Avengers: Infinity War, a rather recent movie, of course.
What's up, Christian?
We got a comment. Nice. No, yeah, the what's it called? Infinity War. So yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, has become this pop culture icon of, it's been over 10 years now, but when Infinity War came out, it was 10 years in the making. It started in 2008 with Iron Man. In 2018, we lead to Avengers Infinity War. And obviously, I can't stay here all day talking about every plot of every movie that led to it. So
Mhm.
I'm going to bear that the audience has somewhat of an idea because that movie was pretty popular. But
And that's an understatement.
yeah, that movie was immense when it
Yeah.
pretty immense when it came out, popular speaking. And so what the whole plot of the movie was essentially we came to a big baddie, Thanos, and Thanos is essentially the protagonist of the film, and he's trying to do the MacGuffin chase of the Infinity Stones, and all these characters we all know and love, the superheroes. In a funny twist of it, the plot itself is a twist. Is they're the antagonists here because they're trying to prevent Thanos from achieving it. Now, I call Thanos the protagonist of Infinity War, and a lot of people would agree with me because not only does he have a lot of screen time, but it's really his story and his plot. Everyone else is just trying to prevent it for their respective reasons. Um, but at the end of the day, it is Thanos' plot and everything. So already the plot is a bit of a twist where it's like we're with a sympathetic villain who has a moralistic journey where in the beginning of the film he takes away his supervillain outfit and he's just a guy with a tank top and he's trying to look very humanistic. He's trying to win this philosophical debate through brutal force of his own doing, compared to other Thanos who, in like example in Endgame, he's with a battleship and a sword. That's more of a supervillain. Here he's trying to be a genuine man with a mission. The big twist that some people were debating, is he going to do it or not? Maybe some Marvel Comics fans knew he was going to do it because they read the comic source material, but a lot of general audience didn't think it was going to happen. Was the snap, which was it became infamous
Yeah.
for about a whole year until Avengers Endgame came out and reversed that. But the idea of like the bad guy winning, the idea of like all our favorite superheroes losing, in this critical loss. It wasn't just like, oh, there were a few lives lost. No, like half the universe died out, and some of our favorite characters of all time died. And even the ones who died was like a twist. Like some people are like, oh, maybe Iron Man may die, and it's like the future movies will lead to this. That's not what happened. No, they killed off Spider-Man. That was the big one. They just killed off Spider-Man. They killed off Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
They killed off some of the Guardians. It was like, what? You're killing off all your new characters? And eventually people, theorize like, oh, they'll come back. We'll see how that goes. But at the time, like, oh my gosh, what?
Yeah, definitely.
I remember when I first saw Infinity War, which was a spectacle. Even if people are like, oh, the movie's not that much of a masterpiece of a movie for its plot, whatnot, the spectacle, the cinematic spectacle of being there with the hype of 10 years. Green Lantern is my favorite Marvel. Chris, we got a commentator here. Green Lantern is my favorite Marvel hero. That was a very good choice.
Too bad he isn't Marvel, is he?
No, that's a joke.
He's DC.
Oh man, but anyways, back to it. Yeah, I remember when that movie ended. There was no like, usually there's clapping and like cheering and then
Yeah.
no, it was like one guy screamed really loud. I was like, and he just like said like that, and everyone else, there was no clapping. Everyone was just like conversing, turning their heads like, what happened? Like, oh my gosh, some people were in tears, sobbing. I'm like, that is a critical plot twist that changed a lot. And I don't think Marvel has ever peaked ever since. I know some people say Endgame. I don't think Endgame was as good as Infinity War.
Yeah.
I truly think that the 10-year build-up and to get to that critical ending of like, oh my gosh, it was like, they could have ended the MCU right there, and we would be talking about that for years. But they did give us an ending eventually with Endgame. But that's a different topic altogether. Moving on, Shawn, back to you. What's number 2?
All right, so number 2. Let's see what we have on this list.
Captain Leo.
Yeah, Shutter Island, man.
The GOAT.
Island.
Yeah, man. Great movie, great cinematography. If you haven't seen Shutter Island, please go see it. And you can skip this this number on the list.
Yeah, if we haven't
But yeah,
already
Shutter
spoiled
Island
your
was
appetite already,
yeah,
all these
exactly.
spoilers and shit. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio shows up as Marshall Daniels. Um, and he and his partner are basically they come to an island trying to find a patient, right? So a patient had mysteriously vanished. So they're trying to uncover like where the actual patient is, but subtle hints throughout the movie tell you everything's not as it seems, and even on like second or third viewings you can tell like certain things are kind of red flags and hints that the reality that you're seeing the movie through at the very beginning isn't how it really is. But yeah, it turns out that Leo's character is actually the patient the entire time, and the whole thing was really just an experiment to try to see like if his mental state would kind of heal itself, or if he could understand that the reality that he thought he was in wasn't real. And towards the end, he says something pretty amazing. I won't spoil that point, but if you go see the movie or get it on like Blu-ray or whatever, definitely go check it out. But yeah, it turns out that he's the the patient all along.
He was the patient all along.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So yeah, y'all can go ahead to number one on the list.
We're moving number one. If we're moving number one, this should be a little bit obvious. You know,
damn, that was really good.
I am your father. It's obvious. You know, that is the plot twist.
The plot twist.
It is the plot twist. You know, when you think about it, if anybody ever tried to do it again, it's like, why try? Like, it's been done already.
Yeah,
you know?
You can't.
It's considered cliche because it was such a plot twist back then that if you do it again, it's cliche now. So if like, oh, the father is the bad guy. By the way, in case anybody hasn't figured it out, I don't know if you guys want to jump in. We're talking about Star Wars Episode 5, Empire
Strikes Back.
We're talking about the fact that unless you're living under a rock, you know, and you don't know, but we are obviously talking about Darth Vader revealing to the audience that he is the father of Luke Skywalker. So, I mean, when did you guys find out? I found out when I was like 5 years old because the movie's older than me.
It's like talking about Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's like talking about Santa Claus. When did you find out, Shawn?
Yeah, man. I mean, by the time that I was really in Star Wars, I'd already seen like the first one, and it had already been talked about, so I kind of knew what was happening
to that point.
But yeah, man, just that moment you realize that's his father, man. Like you're like, wow, like everything changes. The way you see the entire story,
the whole franchise.
Yeah.
The whole franchise. Alex, you said it's like Santa Claus. Like, I agree with that. Even if you don't watch Star Wars, you've heard the line "I am your father." You know, like,
yeah,
it is so ingrained into literal pop culture that
exactly. Like,
it is the plot twist of all time.
Exactly. Like, for me, this is like the quintessential. Like, obviously, it doesn't start here, but for everyone, if I just go up on the street and be like, "Hey, can you think of like a crazy plot twist in a movie, just like super random?" Not everyone would say it, but I guarantee a lot of people would be like, Luke Skywalker? I mean, Darth Vader being his father.
That's impossible.
Yeah, exactly. And then Luke's crazy, Mark Hamill's over-the-top reaction. It's literally cinema greatness, you know? Like, and me, myself, I personally, because, God, I have a terrible memory in general, you know? But if I'm trying to remember, I believe I saw the prequels first, so it actually like set me up. So I was like, oh shit, yeah. Awesome. Because like when the prequels came out, I was like relatively young, so you know I watched them and stuff, and you know, and then also in the Lego game, you know, that scene happens too. So it's it's just great, man. It's cinema. It's literally history. It's history.
It's
pop
cinematic
culture.
history.
You know, like
Yeah, it is.
and it's been, you know, parodied and redone, even as recent as well. I mean, Spider-Man: Homecoming was kind of different. Now that I think about it, let me not say that. But with the dad being the bad guy and all that shit, but it's not the same thing at all. But yeah, you know, so many reiterations, so many parodies, all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of parodies of it all the
Family
time.
Guy and shit.
How
And
big
of
it is.
course.
You
But,
know, so,
Yeah.
I think the biggest factor is you have to consider time and place and everything. I mean, this was a movie where before the internet, before social media, before leaks, they actually David Prowse, the actor who was in the suit of Darth Vader, not the voice, the suit. Um, he revealed it. He leaked it, but you couldn't spread the news. So a few people knew, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, and now everyone knows. Like how nowadays it's like there's a leak and the whole internet loses their
yeah,
mind. So, and I remember that at the time they were trying to keep it so secret, where only Mark Hamill knew how to react because he was told. So he had to do the reaction of, nah, that's impossible. But like everyone else thought that it's like, oh, I killed your father.
it's so
Right?
wild. So
Yeah.
as it was happening on set, everyone found out at the same time, pretty much.
No. People didn't find out on set. The actors, according, at least this is what I believe Mark Hamill has said. He said that the actors didn't know until the movie came out because they were told,
What?
"Oh, I killed your father" or something like that, and everything. But
Ooh.
because there was only two people who knew, Mark Hamill and the voice of Darth Vader. Oh my gosh, I can't believe his
Yeah, I'm trying to remember right now.
slipping through my mind.
James
But,
James Earl Jones. There you go.
James Earl Jones,
Yeah.
yeah, because he had to deliver the line, and then obviously George Lucas and the people who were in charge. Now, David Prowse apparently found out and he spread it, but it was contained or something. Especially at the time, there was no cell phones or anything like that to spread it. But apparently, when the movie came out and people heard the line, they were like, you know, it was like what? Like we were told a whole 3 years ago when the other Star Wars came by that yeah, Darth Vader killed Luke's father, and it just recontextualizes everything. When
Yep.
Darth Vader says he's just a boy to the Emperor, he's not telling him like, "Oh, he's just a weak boy." He's saying when he's just a boy, he's like, "That's my son," you know, like, really,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like, why is he so obsessed with Skywalker? The
Yeah.
Skywalker name is like we find out. Oh wait, he is Anakin
He
Skywalker.
is. He's literally the.
And then as George Lucas wanted, you know, Darth Vader's not this evil bad guy. He's actually a victim in a suit, you know, and it's like, oh man, it's like everything. That's where it's
Yeah.
Of course.
You know, that's what
That
Star Wars
changed
was.
that literally changed the direction of like Star Wars. You know, like literally as a whole. You know, because that set up pretty much everything, man. So it's so great, so great. I honestly wish, if time travel was ever invented, I want to go back to that point in time. Everyone
And
found
just watch
out.
everyone's reaction. Be like,
Yes.
you just sit in the
Yes.
theater, you're gonna be like,
Yes.
and then you see like you look at the crowd, and then you hear the line, and everyone's like,
Like
Yeah.
imagine now. I don't know if you guys have seen the like people have filmed reactions of like Infinity Wars and stuff like that.
yeah,
So imagine like seeing that because Star Wars obviously at that time like Star Wars was like the franchise, like and
Star Wars
it's
ruled the
still
world.
obviously great, but it was the thing. So imagine oh my god,
insane.
Yeah, the closest we've come to it in terms of reaction has probably been No Way Home when Toby and Garfield came back, and
And even then, no
yeah,
one's
the one you
expecting.
guys are talking about,
What about
That was
Endgame? Probably Endgame at the end when
and
everyone.
Endgame too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say both of those are probably the closest we've gotten to that, but that at the same time, like nobody knew about it, so yeah.
And it's like a moment. It's a moment in pop culture history, that can't be recreated, man. Honestly, and I'm pretty like it's crazy because like we were talking about Parasite. How Parasite is like a very long, like developing plot twist. Like, and a lot of movies do that, but this one was so simple. It was just like with a few words, it changed like
in literal few
Change
words,
everything.
perspective.
and it recontextualizes everything.
Exactly. So then you like probably before, and then or at least at that time, now people had to rewatch the old movies and be like, "Whoa," like their little hints here and there that maybe they didn't.
Like you notice that Vader throughout the entire fight in Episode 5, he was using one hand and he really wasn't trying until Luke got one hit on him on his shoulder, and in that moment Vader just cuts his hand off. That's the moment he started trying. It's like, why wasn't he trying the whole time? Why couldn't he just kill him? He's like the most evil person in the galaxy. Why didn't he kill him? And then you find out he's testing his son. He doesn't want to kill his son. And then he got angry, and then he didn't even kill him after that. He was like, join me. He was like, what? It's like,
You know what I'm thinking about? You know what's another crazy plot twist that we should have covered?
What?
Luke and Leia being brother and sister.
That is
Jeez.
that was more of like that one was crazy as well. But
I remember
crazy as well.
I remember being a kid and watching that. I'm like, wait, didn't they kiss like in the last movie? This is pretty weird.
It kind of gets the creepy factor. But you know what's another twist that some people get is some people it's unavoidable to know Darth Vader. But let's say you don't know Darth Vader's Anakin Skywalker. If you watch them in numerical order, of which some people have, once you get to Episode 3 and then the Emperor, he tells like, from now on you will be Darth Vader. I've seen reactions of that one. I have seen reactions of people like, wait, what? Like Anakin is gonna be Darth Vader? Like that guy in the suit? How did he become like that? And then they find out how he gets like that when he gets toasted up in a volcano. So
for me, it was messed up because Episode 3 came out when, like 2007, 2006. Yeah. So at that time, I had to skip over that. So there was like this little hole in between. So then when that came out, it was
crazy. But anyways, fellas, that was our top 5 list.
That was our top 5. The only one that matters, if anyone needs to know. It's the only top 5 that matters.
Top 5 list that matters in terms of plot twists and movies.
Yeah, certified by us.
I don't know if how much we can talk about this, but I just really quickly wanted to bring up, because since this podcast does talk about entertainment, the Oscars came by, and although people talk about the Oscars, if it sucks now or whatnot, there is something everyone is talking about, and that is definitely Will Smith on Chris Rock.
Chris Rock,
We checked Chris Rock, man. It was crazy. Slapped him like a sticker on a telephone pole, man.
And then you slapped him back to Madagascar, man.
Oh my god, yeah.
Man. I think that Chris Rock did a good job of like not reacting to it though, because that could have gotten so messy.
Yeah, it could have
gotten messy.
It could have been terrible. It could have been terrible, man. But
it could have, but he kept composure and he knew the show must go on. So a lot of people speculated to skip. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Not the way his head went back like that.
No. I mean, I thought at first it was fake because the way Will went into it, he was like that, like kind of like how Kevin Hart messes around, like with his like
it
that.
looked like a karate chop.
Yeah, I was like, man, did he like punch him or at first I thought he punched him. I was like, man, Chris Rock ate that like like a champ.
People thought it was a joke when he hit him. It wasn't when he sat down. And for anybody who's still around listening, it was censored in the United States, but in other countries it was not censored. When Will Smith sat down, he cussed out. He's like, "Keep my wife's name off your effing mouth," and it was like serious. And then people were like, "Wait a second." And then when he said it a second time, that's when we were like, "This isn't wrong."
Yeah, because that's when he said it with more gusto. He's like, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth." I was like, "Whoa, man!"
Yeah.
Damn.
He got livid. He got angry. A lot of people are commentating, is Will Smith's career over? This is looks terrible on
really?
his.
Who's saying that?
What?
People are saying that for real?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think his career is
roles.
gone. I mean, I think there's celebrities who always do stupid crap all the time,
Yeah.
But I guess because Will Smith is seen as a respectable actor for a lot of people, and this was like a low blow, like especially on live television in front of everyone.
Man, on live TV, man.
Millions of people saw that. It's not like, oh, this was behind the scenes and
Yeah, I think that's what you should have done, to be honest. I think that's what he should have done.
What?
Like, just waited until after the show and then been like, "Hey, Chris, like,
Yeah, yeah, he could have done that. I just
think
feel
he-
like, yeah, man. You can go first.
No,
I'm
no.
gonna
I was
say,
gonna say what you said. I think he should have done that. You know, probably could have. I don't know, smacked him and then some if you really wanted to. But it was definitely just like spur. You could tell he did not think about it like at all. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
One moment the camera was on him and he was laughing, and then the next moment you go to Chris Rock and he's
That's what people are questioning. Like, what happened? If you widen the shot, you see that Jada wasn't laughing at all. She was just rolling her eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So some people speculate that Will was laughing, but he saw his wife, and that got him pissed off, and then he went and he smacked his face.
Yeah.
Other people were suggesting, oh, that was a fake laugh. He was just like, oh, ha ha, you bastard, and he went up and that's when.
maybe that seems like something Will Smith would do, like an evil laugh, like
That was real.
And then some people, of course, they're speculating. I mean, they're really good actors. It's like it looks real, but maybe it was acting. Maybe it was to spice up the Oscars. The Oscars has been dying down the past few years.
Will Smith, the sacrificial lamb.
But it regardless, it looks bad in his career, and I don't think Will Smith is willing to do that. So unless I don't know.
Yeah, true. And he did win an Oscar for anyone that didn't know.
And he did win an Oscar.
Yeah, and talked about how he wanted to represent peace and love. Jeez.
Oh man,
you can't write this stuff any better. Like that's ridiculous.
You can't make this stuff up.
You can't make it up.
This is ridiculous.
If there is the wrong place and time to say that, it is definitely after you just smack the shit
After
out
you
of someone.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Oh man.
Man, it's funny because Will Smith, up until that point, at least in my eyes, he was that. He was like really peaceful. He, of course, there's videos of him on the internet just like.
Those are cool.
There's one video. I don't know if you guys
before.
What's up?
But to be granted, the fan was like, getting touchy on him and everything.
Yeah, that's the video.
But that one I feel is fine because like the fan was getting touchy on him. It was like, hey, leave me alone, like that. But this was like, he let a joke get to him, and a comedian is gonna do that. Once you're famous, when you're famous, you lose your opportunity to not be joked about, to not Granted, it was a low blow joke. In case anybody is wondering why was Will Smith offended by that joke, his wife Jada has a condition. What's it called?
Alopecia or something like that.
Yeah, alopecia, which requires her to shave her head and her hair. Sorry, and she has a shaved head, and she's talked openly about it being a struggle. And it looks like when Chris Rock mentioned G.I. Jane, which is a movie with an actress with a head. So it was like, oh, G.I. Jane too. It was like, oh, but that was kind of a low blow.
Yeah.
But what sucks is, what could have been like, that was a bad joke, and like 15 seconds people forget about the joke is like, oh no, everyone's gonna remember that moment now. Like,
yeah.
In 2 years, you'll be, remember that moment where Will Smith smacked Chris Rock? It was like, yeah, man, I remember that. Like,
that's awful. Man.
Ratings did go up for the Oscars though after that. 56%.
Of course.
Yeah, 56%. That's for sure. The viewership did go up. Yeah. So, Will Smith asked, I hope I get invited again next year. Well,
I hope he does.
Why not? I don't see why not. Hey,
he probably will, but
the savior of the Oscars to me, bro. Now, let's see. You know what? Let's see if next year people tune in to see if some crazy stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah, they hear Will Smith and Chris Rock are gonna be sitting right next to
Oh my god, yo, it'd be so funny if they promote it. Like they put a little commercial. They're like, actors, Chris Rock, Will Smith.
Yeah, people are like, well, these two sitting next to each other. I was like, what?
Yeah, it'd be funny if they it was like a pay-per-view for like boxing or something like that. Like they were gonna fight or something like that, but they're really just gonna say hey or whatever. Just
apparently Jake Paul offered them $15 million each to like fight, allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
But hey, I mean, people like drama, bro. I think the Oscar viewership would skyrocket if it became a reality TV show instead of an award show. So,
yeah, basically.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is. But in any case,
it's crazy that
what you were saying, Sean?
No, it's crazy how nothing was. I mean, people obviously are upset about it, but it's crazy how like in society we react to jokes differently depending on like who the person is. Because some things are super joked about. Like if this was like if this was a man that got joked about being bald or something like that, like everybody would bat an eye. But as soon as it's like alopecia for a female, it's like, oh my gosh, you can't say anything. But like what Will should have known is, bro, like you're literally at the Oscars, like they poke fun at everybody. Exactly. They poke fun at everybody. Like there was no reason for him to do all that.
You're not safe.
Exactly. But yeah, man, it's crazy. And honestly, the whole slap, I don't think this was just about the joke. If you remember August and all of that went down with that, I think that this is a culmination of a whole bunch of stuff just piling up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, man, I think it's super embarrassing, especially coming from my perspective as an African American male. It definitely dampened the night. You know, it was supposed to be a good night for him and many others, but the last thing that we're going to be talking about and remembering from this Oscars is how he slapped Chris Rock.
Yeah.
So I hope he's happy with what he did. He definitely soiled the night for many people. So yeah, that's all I have to say about it, man. But it's
quick. Before we sign off and wrap things up, whose fault do you think it is?
What do you mean?
Chris Rock's
in
fault?
Terms of the whole thing?
Yeah, or is it Will Smith's fault?
I think that
because this is like a deeper conversation. I feel like do you get mad at the jester, or do you get mad at like the people that you know?
I feel like you can react to it a different way. Even when you look at like mobs and how they handle business, you don't just react to anything. Everything has to be calculated. Obviously, you shouldn't run your life like a mob boss would, but definitely that situation, especially when you have to get physical or anything like that, you definitely don't do that in the public eye. Not at the Oscars at that. So
yeah. You could say Chris Rock, yeah, he initiated the joke, but like I said, he is a comedian. Comedians will poke at your flaws and issues and insecurities because that's how comedians roll. That's how comedy has rolled for years and years and years and years. And not to justify the joke, you could say that was a low blow, but as Shawn said, you could have calculated that better. You could have, just given him a serious look like, that's not funny. You could have pulled him out after the show and be like, Chris, that was messed up. Can we have a public apology on that? Or on break, we could have been like, hey, this is better than that. Or just could have realized, let's not take life so seriously. It's a G.I. Jane joke, as Chris Rock tried to justify his part. Let's just leave it at that. It's not like he's actually attacking, in a malintent. Hopefully not. I don't think so. On the other hand, I mean, it just makes Will Smith look like, like a toxic masculine moment, a moment of insecurity, a moment of emotional weakness. It looks bad in his career. It's like, oh, if I were to criticize Will Smith, is he gonna smack me now? Kind of situation, like,
Of course.
That's my take.
Yeah, exactly.
And you, Alex?
I mean, I think you guys said it perfect. Yo, hold up, Adrian. You should have been Will Smith's PR guy. You just handled the situation perfectly.
I did a little bit of PR, all right?
You handled the situation perfectly.
I just did a little bit of PR, but unfortunately, I'm not famous enough, or I'm not old enough for whatnot. Not yet. At least not yet.
I think, man, I think you hit it right on the head, man. I think the best thing, like Shawn said, I think this ties into both of what you guys said. You got to handle yourself like the mob a little bit. You know what I mean? And do those things in the dark. You know what I mean? Like if you don't even have to get physical with him. If you are gonna, go and check him for that, you could just be like, hey man, like, can you? That joke wasn't cool. Like, apologize to Jada. She's very self-conscious about that. I would like to think Chris Rock or any person with any sort of sense and within reason would understand and be like, oh shit, yeah, man, let me apologize. That was messed up. I didn't even know. But yeah, I definitely think. And I'm sure we all think that he could have just handled it a different way. Because it's not like it's the first time that a comedian has poked fun at someone of notoriety, at a show.
Exactly.
Especially at the award show, bro. Hey, the jokes are thin, man. The jokes are few and far between. All right, so they're going to be grasping for straws at whichever one. You know what I'm saying? And if you're in the front row, and Jada and Will have had a bunch of turmoil lately, highly publicized, like, come on, man. That target is like on your back at that point. Not to put the blame on them, but you kind of have to expect it. What I'm saying, and prepare yourself for that.
You got to.
Right? So, yeah, that's all I got to say.
I completely agree. Well, guys, I think that wraps up episode 7 of the House of Reels. I don't think this is a real podcast. Do you guys want to call this a podcast episode, or is this just a review podcast?
No, it's a review, but also a commentary. I think, it's a 2-in-1 episode,
Yeah, we give it 2 for
you got to get into both.
Shampoo, conditioner, 2 for 1.
Light moment, a little bit more in the heavier stuff.
Yeah.
Shampoo and conditioner.
Exactly, that 2-in-1.
2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner. You already know.
Obviously, in real life, you don't want to use those, but
you don't. But in this case, you do.
We'll give it to you.
In this case, you do.
But by all means, everyone, take care. Y'all be good, and happy April Fool's Day coming up soon.
Happy April Fool's Day, guys. See you guys next week.
Peace.
All right, see you guys.
See you.
Peace.